Okay guys, how's it going? This is a quick tutorial to work on easing, which is slow in, slow out. So what I did here, created a really simple scene. I have two layers. Get the background layer, the stage is green, and I put a big stroke here for the road. So I just used the pen tool to make a stroke, made it pretty big. And then I created a simple tree. This is just three triangles and a rectangle. I kind of skewed. So I have a symbol of a tree. I just kind of threw a bunch of trees in there and used the free transform tool to shrink them and skew them up so it looks like I have different kinds of trees. Then I made a race car, a really simple race car. Again, a triangle. This is an oval that I adjusted, and four black ovals. So nothing, don't spin out. You could make this as elaborate as you want, but the key thing is that we're just working on easing here and trying to do this relatively quickly. So once I have that set up, I need to set up the animation. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go down to my timeline. I'm going to make this 5 seconds. I want to insert a frame that'll hold the artwork on. Go up here to the car, and I'm going to insert a keyframe. In 5 seconds, I'll move the car to where I want it to go at the end of that 5 seconds. So now I have my car at the front, and I have the keyframe, I have the car at the bottom. Okay, so we have two keyframes, and the car is going to be going from there to there. So easiest way to do this, just right click. We're going to create a classic tween, and that is now going to move that car from one end to the other. But obviously, we don't want it to float over the road. This isn't a spaceship. So what we're going to do, we need to give it a path to move on. So if I click the actual layer over here on the right, and I right click this, I want to add a classic motion guide. Now look, you got to click over here because I've tried to do it over here and it doesn't show up. So you got to literally click over here on the layer, add a classic motion guide. It's going to give me a new layer. I'm going to select the pen tool. Pen tool is pretty amazing. Make sure it's black, nice small stroke. Start right in the middle of the car. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to try to go along the middle of the road. Now the pen tool is pretty cool. If you hold it down while you're clicking, you could pull out and create curves. It's pretty nice. It's just a nice way to do it. Pen tool is really powerful. It's easier than the pencil tool, because you don't have to hold and try to create a beautiful classic curve the whole time. I could just let go. Now I'm just clicking and dragging into a nice path. Pretty happy with that. Click up here. Okay, so there it is. So now I'm still got problems because the car, the car did it. Okay, so sometimes if you do this, the car won't be attached to the path. I've done that before. You got to go down here to the last keyframe, and you click the car. So the car is not on the path. Pretty much you can drag the car and click it onto the path. Right here, the registration point. So sometimes that works because when you first start, you're right on the car. Sometimes it doesn't. Also, what you need to do is you got to click here into the tween, and we're going to make sure that the oriented path is on. I happen to have mine on, so it worked, but you might create this and all of a sudden the car is not turning with the path. So just make sure again that the center point for the car is located onto your classic motion guide on both sides, both keyframes down here. See, yep, there it is. It's locked onto the path. And make sure that if you click on the tween, the properties of the tween come up here on the right. You're oriented to the path is on. But if I test this, you're going to see that it looks really robotic. It's not really what we want. So what we need to do now, which is the key of this whole thing, is work on the easing. So I click into the tween, and if you look up here in the tween, it says classic ease. If you click on classic ease, there's different ease ins and there's ease outs. This has presets. It really is pretty powerful. But what we want to do, go back there, click in there, is click this little pencil, and I'm going to edit this ease. All right, here's the graph, and you can see it's a linear graph, so that's why the car just cruises along. This is the speed in and speed out of the car. So I click here on these black dots, I can adjust the graph. So if I'm here, this is the car is going to go faster, slower, and what I want to do, I'm going to speed it up at the end. A lot of times you end up doing this as kind of a classic ease in, ease out, but the problem is now it's going to be very slow in the middle. So it's going to go fast, and then it's going to slow down. I'll show you what this looks like. And it basically stops. All right, not a great result. So what we need to do is again go back in here. This takes a little bit of fine tuning. So go in, click your ease, and you can add a couple points. So if you're here, I might it's a little aggressive at the beginning. And the problem is, if you look at this curve, if the curve is horizontal, that means the car is basically going to be stopped. So we don't want it ever to be completely horizontal. But what we could do is I could add a couple control points. If I click on this, we can either move it around, and I could add a couple points and see how we're doing on this. You don't want to go nuts and add too many points because it tends to get a little cumbersome. But we could, well, okay. Still a little slow in the middle, right? So this takes some fine tuning on your part. Again, I'm clicking on my tween, going into my ease, and I'm going to want to kind of tweak that one around a little bit. Might have to add a couple points to this. So this requires a little bit of patience and just some working with these eases to fine tune what you want it to look like. And I'm not going to sit there and totally mess with this too much with you, but I don't want it to ever be completely horizontal. Because if you do that, car basically stops. Let's see what that looks like. All right, slows, kind of speeds and slows and speeds out. Not perfect. Now, if I had a lot of time, I'd really tweak this to make it perfect, but that's your job. So your job is to create a scene. Just keep it relatively simple. Create a real basic car, make it classic tween, and then mess around with the slow in, the slow out, the easing, or they call it cushioning, to have the car slow down in the curves and speed up afterwards. You guys should be able to bang that out pretty quickly. I'm looking forward to what you come up with.